Hello, my name is Ellen Passmore. Welcome to our series of readings from the Greater Lehigh Valley Writers Group. I'm reading one of my Appalachian short stories, You Can't Feel the Protons, Honey, published in the 2021 Rites of Passage Anthology. Maisie had no time for the hassle of cancer. Tough enough to schedule time off from work for the first mammogram, then a second. But when her PCP merely shunted her off to a specialist who would go over your results, that hit a nerve. The specialist turned out to be a surgeon. Maisie's nerves twanged. How hard could it be to say surgeon? He appeared at her x-rays in what looked like computer printouts, seeming to forget her presence. Fluorescent lights bombarded his gleaming metal table, bounced off his starched white coat, and nearly blinded her. So there she sat, wearing one of those stupid paper vests all women wear when someone needs to poke around their breasts. As if by magic, a nurse appeared, a cue to the surgeon. Let's just take a look at that breast, shall we? Maisie's backbones pressed against the table's hard surface. She stared at a painting of a seaside lighthouse. Wishing herself atop its high tower, she thought, this too shall pass. Silence. With a nod to the nurse, who said, you may get dressed. They left the room. Upon his return, he droned on in what sounded like some foreign language. She found it hard to pay attention. Finally, she waved her hand and blurted, whoa, are you trying to tell me I have cancer? That's what the pictures show. There's the biopsy yet to do, but I'm saying yes. At the time, his answer felt like the worst news of her life. The surgeon sent her to an oncologist. By now, she didn't know when someone with a stethoscope would want to see the offending body part, so she wore her favorite V-neck pink sweater, easily removed. Dressed in a business shirt, paisley tie, and khaki pants, but no stethoscope. He seemed like a regular guy until he told her, after the surgery, your surgeon will want to monitor your breast. Struggling to keep a stone face, she thought, my God, what a phrase. One breast, two doctors, two appointments. How in the hell? Oh, his voice interrupted. And for your 32 days of radiation treatment. That will take about a month and a half. You'll check in with me. And if your biopsy tests estrogen positive, monitoring the tamoxifen you'll take for the next 5 years. Tamoxifen is the ticket, but some side effects are blood clots and stroke, so I'll be seeing a lot of you. As she exited his office, he shook her hand, and said, congratulations on joining a special club. Maisie gripped the steering wheel and stomped on the gas pedal, trying to breathe. Glassy-eyed, she negotiated the parking lot. Her mind raced. Biopsy? Surgery? Radiation? Didn't radiation kill you? Tamoxifen? 5 years. Stroke? How will we pay for all of this? Johnny will, no, don't think of Johnny. I'll find some way to tell him. Oh Lord, I have to keep working. Special club, some dues. That night at home after dinner and a couple of beers, Johnny asked, hey babe, didn't you go to see another doctor today? How'd it go? Oh, fine. Said I joined a special club. Want another beer? Maisie's first initiation into the club, the needle biopsy, drilled into her breast while she was fully conscious. Then came initiation number 2, surgery. At least she was unconscious, like it had never happened. The after pain told her otherwise. She held on to the surgeon's words, I got it all, but puzzled over time to start looking for the blessings. Maybe he meant ice packs, great drugs, and tons of chocolate marshmallow ice cream. They got her back to work before she used up her one remaining vacation day. Johnny tried to cheer her. Hey babe, remember the surgeon said got it all? When she didn't react to his happy birthday face, he kept on. So it's time to look for the blessings. Like he said? She came closer than a gnat's eyelash to flipping him the bird. Ah, special club and blessings. Right. Next came hazing. She tried not to be resentful. In the lunchroom with two other women from the office, she quipped, tons of other women have had breast work, like Dolly. One rolled her eyes. Honey, Dolly had reduction, not cancer. And she's got barrels of money. Maisie winced. Okay, so tons of women's husbands work extra shifts to make ends meet. Johnny, don't complain. I could kick him. I try to see the bright side, like he says. You gonna eat that pie? For 32 days, weekends off, her routine never varied. Up at 5 a.m., in the car by 5:45, struggling in the dark to stay on the damn mountain roads between Slippery Ridge and the cancer center. Johnny rubbed his chin like he did when he was frustrated. You could leave home later, babe. I'd drive you if I didn't have to, well, not blaming, but you could drive in daylight. Have a safer trip is all I'm saying. Her stomach tightened. Controlling her voice, she only said, that would get me back to work too late. I wangled an hour later starting time. Just eat lunch at my desk now, ready to answer the phone and keep at it. At first, Maisie didn't speak to the other patients, barely looked at them, in fact. They all seemed dazed and tired. Probably she did too. She avoided mirrors at home, didn't want to know what the radiation was doing to her face, hair, breast. But she took good notice of the nurse who practically ran out of the room when it came time for the linear accelerator, or the beast, as she called it, to shoot out invisible death at her breast. It looked like some monstrous stand mixer, but instead of beaters, a huge eye stared down on its victims. Oh, must be one of the blessings, she thought. Can't feel them either. She squared her shoulders. Is that all? Well, external beam radiation does cut through the nerves in your breast. It'll be tender for a while, and you'll feel shocks. I guess that's why all those cancer obituaries use the word battled. In a dark, cavernous room, all concrete and chrome, she lay on the adjustable metal slab under the gleaming metal beast. High above her, opposite the beast, ran a row of windows behind which white-coated staff operated a bank of computers. She could see them peering down at her. After making certain the target area was properly positioned under the accelerator, the nurse scurried out of the room, leaving Maisie alone. She closed her eyes, thinking back to her daddy's old barn. Light seeping in between the weathered boards, the wooden side bins and scaffolding from which hung ropes, hooks, and pulleys. The hayloft crammed with bouncy hay smelling of summer, a kid's paradise. An intercom broadcast interrupted her reverie. Ready? She nodded, but didn't open her eyes. The beast hummed, one beam invisible protons, directly precisely on the still healing wound of the surgeon's incision. The routine dragged on for 32 days. When Maisie's turn in line came, she couldn't turn back. Her name always appeared on the schedule. One night when they were both home for supper, Johnny cooked, he asked, how's it going? Maisie shrugged. She scooped the last of the spaghetti sauce in a crusty heel of bread and swallowed it before answering. I drive 45 minutes in the dark. Check in, undress, put on some cheesy gown, with those stupid ties. She looked down at her chest. Easy access? In spite of herself, she laughed. Johnny smiled, but said nothing. In the hall, I sit on a row of chairs with others, all waiting for their daily dose. I try not to think about the nurse who keeps saying, next. Come to hate that word. I have to get on the slab. It's always cold, the room always cold, the nurse always untying the top of my gown. Out pops the sorry old breast, and always the nurse fast foots toward the door. I close my eyes, pretend I'm at the pool or something. I know, Labor Day's come and gone, pool's closed. Then I hear that damn voice. Ready? What am I gonna say? Not today. In time, she began to talk to the others in line. The white-haired woman whose grandson drove her to radiation always smiled. By her 10th treatment, Maisie smiled back. In mid-October, she found herself sitting in line next to Ed, Something about him made her take a closer look. Must be his resemblance to her late dad. The same withered eyes of a man who works the fields. The same no-nonsense haircut from a barber, not a salon stylist fashion statement. Ed's cancer was lung, a gift of 40-year love affair with Chesterfields, unfiltered. He confided, my daughter quit her job out west to come home. To take care of Pa, she said. Genuine affection sugarcoated his rough voice. He coughed into a white handkerchief. Leaning closer, he whispered, with lung, the blisters aren't so much on the outside. Work their way up the esophagus and throat. Another cough. Others got it worse. Maisie wondered how. One night, as blustery winds lashed leaves against the house, Johnny put down the paper and asked, what candy do you want me to buy for Halloween treats? Rousing from a doze, Maisie shook her head. Yipes! Halloween already? Coming on pretty near. What about a sack full of Snickers? Seems like we could use a laugh around here. For the first time in weeks, Maisie held his gaze with that old look in her eyes. Make that 3, some left over for us. Johnny summoned the courage to ask, any blisters yet? Had to start the ointment. She gave her breast a rueful glance, way beyond the powers of Noxzema. A snow squall ushered in November, turning the mountain roads into their usual mess. Maisie insisted on driving herself. Johnny insisted she take the Jeep. Soon the talk of Thanksgiving cropped up. In a universal groan, everyone in line asked who had the strength to shop, to cook, to do much of anything. Ed's collar was bad, but his spirits high. My girl keeps my house clean and cleans my clothes, does all the shopping. I'm not much good for that anymore. He nodded toward the entrance of the radiation room. Been at this for a time now. He closed his eyes, but continued. She's a good cook, just like her mama. He smiled. Wife's passed. Just me and my girl. He struggled to swallow. She's promised to make the full shebang, turkey and all. I hanker for mashed potatoes and gravy. All I want is to swallow one heaping spoonful sopping in gravy. By God, wouldn't that be grand? Maisie laid her hand on his thin arm. Indeed it would, Ed. He nodded. As they got ready for bed that night, Maisie sat next to Johnny. He wore the plaid nightshirt she had given him last Christmas. She fussed at her nightgown, smoothing out the folds that had gathered over her legs, then took his hand. Rough, but nails scrubbed. Remember what the doctor said about looking for blessings? Nodding, Johnny squeezed her hand. I haven't been burned to a crisp or had to stop working, thank God. You've done extra, Johnny. We're making this. Tears she had kept in check for over a month welled up. Others got it far worse than me, Johnny. Good people, brave too. Come Turkey Day, I can eat all I want. You know, others can't. We got good reason for Thanksgiving. Johnny kissed her cheek. Seems like the doc was right. Love you, babe. Yeah, me too. That's it. Thanks for attending. Check out our other sessions at the Eastern Book Festival. Have a good day.